Hello everyone, and welcome to the Confessions of a Knitaholic, episode number 4. My name is Johanne, and I live in central Norway, in a city called Trondheim, and I knit. So today I pulled out one of my older sweaters actually. It is a no frills sweater by Petite Knit in some hand-dyed yarn by Bumblebee Acres Farm in America, and I think the colorway name was either Hagrid or Keeper of the Keys, but I think it was Hagrid. It was from when they had Harry Potter yarn. Yeah, and it was actually, I think, the first round of hand-dyed yarn that I ever bought in a sweater quantity. Probably the second time or something I bought hand-dyed yarn altogether. I found them on, I think it was Facebook, and like an ad popped up with their then Harry Potter and Game of Thrones yarn, and yeah, that worked. It pulled me in, and I was a part of their like mystery club for a while until the import toll. It was just a bit too much after a while. So yeah, it's in their squishy sock base, and then I paired it with like a chalk colored silk mohair just from Samsøe. And don't remember exactly when I made it, but I was late to the no frills sweater party for sure. But yeah, probably, who knows when they had this yarn, 2018 maybe, 19. Yeah, it's been in my closet for a few years, but I pull it out relatively often. If I'd made it now, knowing more about the Petite Knit patterns and how they fit me and my body and my preferences, I would have shortened the raglan, done fewer raglan increases. I generally do that on most of our patterns now. And I also might have done more, I always do more decreases for the cuff because I prefer a tighter cuff than her patterns usually have. But yeah, that's what I've put on today. And who knows how long it's going to take for me to finish my rotation of sweaters. Over the last weekend, my sister and I had, over the summer, like sorted through our wardrobes and such and pulled out all of the clothes that we didn't use anymore that we could pass on to somebody else, and we had a stall at like a secondhand market close to where I live, and I had so many hand knit sweaters, and I know it's a bit like so and so whether or not you should sell like your handcrafted items. They put so much time and love and into the work behind them, but I've come to the conclusion that I knit so much, I have so much knitted stuff, and if I'm not using it, I'd rather sell it or give it away to somebody who will use it and cherish it rather than just hang on to it because I made it. I mean, there are some sweaters, like my first ever sweater and such, that I probably will never part with. But yeah, my body changes, like my preferences change, and I just don't see the point in hanging on to all of the sweaters that I just never use. So yeah, a little tangent there, but it was it's nice to see the ones that sold go to somebody else, and I might take the rest to, we are thinking of doing like a little stall at like maker's market or something this fall, where I think maybe the handmade aspect and price point will be more appreciated by the people browsing compared to the people going to this secondhand market. I mean, some of the things I had were knit with hand-dyed yarn and mohair and yeah, a bit more pricey yarn, so then I guess they weren't the cheapest available items, so some things sold, some things didn't. And yeah, let's get over to some current knitting, or what's been happening since the last time. So I have a confession. It has happened. It's only episode 4. And I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't know how long it was going to take. That I didn't finish my box of shame project before podcasting. I'm sorry to me for breaking my own rules, but I did try. Okay, now I'm going to come with the excuses and the explanation, and at the end of the day it's just not done. But what I did do is I did weave in all of the ends to my monster pants. All of them are done. I sewed down the hem to put in the little elastic. I haven't gotten around to finding said elastic and actually putting it through. But the main thing I haven't done, which makes the pants, to be honest, is I haven't duplicate stitched. So here come the excuses. I recently sorted through, or went through, all of my yarn. All the cabinets, all project bags, everything. And I packed the yarn in plastic boxes and I put them in my storage room. And I sorted everything by like yarn weight and like yarn composition, like all the sock yarn, all the DK non-superwash, all the DK superwash, blah blah blah. But I don't remember where I put this one specific DK superwash nylon white that I want to use for the teeth and the eyes. And to be honest, I couldn't be bothered to actually spend even more time going through all of the bags in the boxes and finding the white yarn, because I will be moving soon. So that's kind of already packed. And I opened it up, a few of the boxes, looked in the bags where I thought it was going to be, it wasn't there. So then I was like, whatever. These ones will be done when I'm sorting out the yarn in my new place. So I'm going to count it as a fail and put it back in the box, in the bag of shame, to bring out at a later time. But when I bring out these again, I will punish myself and have to bring out 2. I mean, some of them in there, you know, the one, for example, with the just missing sewing on the label, like I can duplicate stitch that and sew on a label or weave in some ends or whatever. But next time this one is out, it has to bring a friend and they both have to be done. That is my new, like, fail rule. Yeah. So we'll get to the next round of a bag of shame projects later. So on a happier note, let's see what I've actually done. It's now September. I don't know if I said that. but it is now September, which means my August motif for my blanket is done. It doesn't look in the little camera lens to be that different, but it is 4 different shades of green I landed on for August. Let's see if I have the yarn that I used as accessible as I planned. So the base color, still the light grey heathered color 44, I think. And then these are my 4. So in the last episode I said that I didn't have my 4th color and that I had to go buy something. But when sorting through all of my yarn, I found a Ziploc bag of leftovers that a friend had given me for this blanket. So in there I had 2 nuggets of this mystery yarn. I think it might be Finul from Roma. It's hard to tell, isn't it, difference between Ask and Finul. They are very similar. But maybe Finul, maybe Ask, I don't know. Some Norwegian pure wool sport weight green. I had 2 nuggets of pretty much the same size, and then I used up 1 of the nuggets for the motif. And then I had some Ask from Fabel Knitwear. So this is the color Olive. She's very aesthetically pretty. Ball bands? Labels, yeah. She's no longer dyeing on Ask, so I think it's a shame, but I think she started with Pickles Pure Wool, which is very similar, though it's not Norwegian yarn, but weight and the quality of it is very similar. And then third, I had this hand dyed by me green that I did at actually at my weaving course 2 summers ago. We had like a little yarn dyeing session down in there in the mill where they do their dyeing, and I dyed a shade of green. I mean, let's be honest, it doesn't look how I thought it was going to be when I was dyeing, but I like it. And then the last color that I used, or it was actually the first, but was some yarn that my friend Cassidy sent me for our yarn swap. It's called Dream. It's lamb and goat fingering weight yarn, so it's a little bit thinner than the others, but it's fine. And the feel is a bit different too, but it's fine. It's for a blanket, and it's similar enough for me. This is the color Hosta 643. Where was I? I was talking about the Hosta yarn. The Hosta color. So she gifted me a few of these, which will be part of my September motif. It's in a bag by me. My mom and I went to Finland, and that was my birthday present from my parents when I turned 30 last year. They gave me like a girls trip, me and my mom. So we went to Finland, and we stumbled upon this clothing store, which was like all Finnish designers, and there was just a huge basket of fabric, and they had like little Moomin fabric, and we had to get it, and I made my first ever project bag with the rest. My mom made me a skirt with this, and then I wanted to utilize the rest of the scraps from that and make myself a bag. So here I've just found the colors that go with my plan for the September, because it is fall. It's still kind of green, but I'm looking at my blackcurrant bushes and they're turning yellow. It's happening. It's sweater weather and fall season and all the best season. Maybe except for like the endless rain, but like it's getting chiller, it's getting darker. With small kids, you appreciate the evenings when it gets darker, because trying to convince your toddlers that no, it's the evening when the sun is like shining in the windows, it's so much easier when it's like, it's dark, go to bed. Anyways, yes, September, fall, ochre, yellows, oranges, but not like, I love like fall colors. Those are my colors. So I want to do September and October in like fall. So I'm thinking of the more like rusty, deeper tones and like darker oranges for Halloween season. I'm not a Halloween person, but for like pumpkins and that kind of stuff. And then the more like ochre, lighter oranges for September. So I think I have this Usk from Fable Knitwear ginger nut. I have this Usk that Cassidy gave me. I have a few more skeins of Dream. This one I'm like September or October, not sure yet. And then another Dream. This one for sure September. A little nugget of leftover Usk from Fable Knitwear, and some Patagonia Merino from Cassidy as well. Sorry about that. But yeah, I'm excited to get started. I could have started already, but I kind of like, I finished the August one like earlier. Normally I'm like time crunching when the end of the month nears, but this one I was actually like a bit early because I didn't have like any other focus projects. So yeah, I just kind of like put away the base color, and then it kind of slips my mind for a little bit. But yeah, the August one at least was a finished object for the month. And what I'm currently working on is, as predicted in my last episode when I said I just cast on for the porcelain sweater. That is my focus. And in the background, I'm still working on this little fitness set. See, it's almost done, but it hasn't been stuffed all the way because I ran out of cotton yarn ends and polyfill. So I have to I'm gonna see if my mom has like the little bit that I need for this corner here and for the kettlebell. It's almost done. So when she's back from her vacation, I can give it to, give it as a gift. Yes. I'm working on the porcelain sweater by Lene Holme Samsøe, and I am knitting it for a friend of mine who had her 40th birthday, and I knit a sweater every year for her kid, who's the same age as my kid. And now when she had like her round birthday, I wanted to give one to her as well. And she's a ceramics artist, so I figured like the porcelain sweater would be a good fit for her. So I have quite a bit done. So the back and then the front. So now I'm on the second color work chart out of, I think it's 3. And then pick up for the sleeves. I decided, I don't know if I'm happy with my choice, but I decided on the top down version. And I think this would have been the same if I knit it bottom up. So this is just the annoying part came at the beginning rather than the end, with knitting back and forth with color work and charts that don't add up with your yarn being on the same end when you start like a new color row. So there are so many ends from just ending and restarting the color sections, which I think is kind of annoying, but okay. I will weave them in because it's a gift, and yeah, it will be done if I don't like it. And the yarn I'm using, the yarn is lovely. The yarn is great. It's just that I brought this to knit at a friend's house this weekend. And I brought it to a knitting group yesterday. But I'm knitting out of cones. So I'm bringing, dragging along these two big cones in a bag that's too small, and it's just a kilo of yarn plus the cone thing. It's a bit overkill, but I don't want to get out my winder and make little cakes, because then it's probably going to be like small little leftover nuggets. I'd just rather have it in these big chunks. This is gonna, I think, have to be a stay-at-home project, and then I'm gonna have to cast on something else to bring along. Like, for example, my September motif for my blanket. But the yarn, as I said, is great. I bought this yarn when I went with a few of my friends to the Faroe Islands 2 years ago. Yeah, I think it's 2 years ago. And we went to the Snelldam factory. So it's made in the Faroe Islands. It's pure new wool. It's 360 meters per 100 grams. So I think it's a bit more with the white and the undyed versus the dyed, because the dye adds weight, which minimizes yardage. So, and then this is the 2-ply. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. This one is the color, I think it's moss or something, but it's maybe 27. And this one, the little tag is fallen up, but it's unbleached white. I bought a lot of yarn at the Faroe Islands, and this is the second sweater I'm using this type of yarn for. And yeah, it's really nice. It's really nice to knit with, and it's really nice to wear. It does have a bit of like the spinning oils and stuff, so it needs a proper wash before I gift it to my friend, but that I can do. That's like, washing the knits is not something I put off. It's the weaving in advance. That is my Achilles heel. I think I'm not working on much else as of right now. Next week, however, we will get to that. And since last time, I had my birthday. Let me get out my little happy birthday yarn cake. Yay! Yeah, I had my birthday since last time, and I did show off a lot of the lovely yarn that Cassidy gave me when I went to the US for flock. And another friend of mine also knows I like yarn. Who would have thought? And she gifted me some yarn as well that she bought when traveling. So she got me 4 skeins, I think, of Lene by Pedman. It's a Danish brand, and the yarn is actually 100% recycled wool. And when I went to Denmark 3 years ago, sounds like I travel a lot. I don't feel like I do, but we have traveled a little bit. And I bought some of this yarn and I made a sweater for my eldest boy. And it's really nice yarn. So she got me this like grayish purple yarn, and I have some leftovers in like a dark blue, and I have some in light gray. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna make like a one colored sweater or if I'm gonna maybe stripe in the gray or something. And I'm thinking I'm gonna make some kids sweaters with this purple for Christmas gifts. My eldest loves the color purple, so if he sees it, he might end up snagging it. He has made me promise to knit him a new hat. I should get started on that because it's getting chillier in the mornings at least. And he's like, I want a purple hat, a purple bear balaclava, like from Knitting for Olive. He has had a few of them, and he wears it like all the time. So I got this yarn also from Cassidy. It's more of that Patagonia merino and this like really nice purple. So I brought out all of my purple yarn that I had that I figured would work for one of those hats, and he chose this one. Not surprised. So it will become a bear balaclava, like ish 4 years old size. And then I'm thinking of trying to join a few of these like knit-alongs, stitch-along, make-alongs in September, because I see a lot of them are coming up in like preparations for either like the fall or stashing down or like preparing for Christmas and blah blah blah. And I'm in much need of stashing down. I'm moving to a smaller place, so I'm not sure how much room I'll be having for my crafts, but don't you worry, there will be space for the crafts. But I don't want it to be all storage equals yarn storage, you know. So I'm thinking like all of Stash Buster Cal's and such is good to join. So one of the ones that I want to join is the one by This Nanny Knits. She had a fun name for it that I am totally blanking on right now, and I can't be bothered to try and figure it out. But she's doing like a cast-on party over the weekend. And my kids are gone this weekend, and I'm home alone for the first time since becoming a mom over 3.5 years ago, for a whole weekend. And I am joining at least one of the Zooms, maybe both, but at least one. And I have to figure out what to cast on. So I know for sure that I'm making at least 3 Christmas gifts for kids, maybe 4, and then 2 birthday gifts with birthdays in January and February. Okay, my neighbor just started mowing their lawn. I don't know if it's going to pick up on the camera, but if it does, sorry. Yes, so I have a lot of kids in need of gifts, or I want to make them gifts. And I applied to a test knit for a lovely like autumn coat or winter coat jacket, which I think will be perfect for some of the girls that so I'm just hoping to get selected, because yes, I can buy the pattern when it comes out, but it's not going to be out for a few months, and then it's going to be even less time until Christmas and the holidays and whatnot, so fingers crossed on getting chosen for that. And then I'm like debating a bit between the festival sweater, just like a standard basic raglan pattern with stripes, the Friday. Probably not the Friday because it's such a small gauge, and I would rather be knitting DK for gifts for kids as friends as kids, but we shall see what I end up choosing. And as I said, I need to find a more like portable project than that porcelain sweater because the sweater's just going to grow and the cones are just going to be cones for the duration of that knit. Whereas like scrappy kid sweaters, those can fit in a bag, like a knitting bag, no problem. Okay, I now have to bring out the bag of shame. So I'm gonna cut and... So now to the box of shame. Bag of shame. Now actually also a shelf of shame. As I said, I'll be moving soon-ish. And okay, it's really loud. And I can't be bothered to sort out the box too far ahead of time, so that will be a project for next house, to get like a designated box. But I'll put in some like B-roll of my shelf of shame in my cabinet over here, where the top shelf is just project bags with old projects, along with my now overstuffed bag where I just added project bags and projects that I found. But in honor of the stripy make-along by Lucy and the Snazzy Knits, I'm gonna bring out, this is maybe the oldest thing in my shame pile. It's in a lovely plastic bag from the yarn store where I bought the yarn. And if I bring out all the colors, you may guess the theme. Maybe. So, way back when, in 2016, Easter of 2016, I decided that I want to make, okay, I'm missing maroon because I used that up, but some yellow and black, some silver and blue and silver and green and ochre plus maroon. I wanted to make house, like Hogwarts house socks to have in my hallway as like visitor socks when people came over. So I started with the lion socks because that's my house. I was sorted. And I finished those, and it was supposed to be duplicate stitched. I didn't do that. I did this like hybrid knitting in the round, just dragging along the yarn all the way. It wasn't the best solution. And then I did the badger socks, and I gifted those to a Hufflepuff. And I start, because I can't find the pattern. Maybe I'll put in a photo if I can find them on Ravelry. I have them printed out somewhere. But I started the snake and the eagle socks. So they're stripy until the heel, and then they are main color with the animal duplicate stitched in the contrast color. But the fit of the socks isn't great for me, and since I'm not duplicate stitching but I've been knitting the pattern in the round, you can't really change it too much because it has to fit, the pattern has to fit on top of your leg. The pattern is a certain length, which means your sock will be a certain length. There's also a letter on the heel, so the heel flap has to have a certain length, and they're just too big. They've just been too big for me, so I don't really wear them that much. And now the Hufflepuff socks are out of the picture. They're gifted and worn and all that. And looking at them by themselves, this is just a green and silver gray stripy sock. This is just a navy and gray stripy sock. So with Lucy's make along, it's a stripy cal, and you can enter with widths if they are less than 50% done. And if it's a pair of socks, then one sock is 50%, so half of a sock. I think it counts. I'm thinking of just continuing these. My gauge has probably changed. It's been not 9.5 years. My gauge has changed. But finishing up these socks, and then using up the yarn. So this is all mini sterk, which is a alpaca wool nylon blend, a 40-40-20, I think. And it's very warm. They're quite soft, very warm socks. And if I keep them, if I gift them, who knows? Not much of a sock knitter, but it will free up this whole bag, and I think I'm gonna join those with those. So that means I'm allowing myself to have those not done by next episode, because knitting 2 pairs of socks, or even if I said only one of them was for now, would be a lot for a week or two. So I will count it as a success if I finished one sock by next time. Probably without the pattern and all of that stuff, just the sock. And then we'll see how it goes. Maybe, who knows if I bring out something else and just weave in some ends here and there, but probably not, let's be honest. But yeah, that was my little update from my corner of the internet and the world. And I hope you're all doing great, and I hope you're all having a wonderful knitting time in the beginning of the fall season. Okay, thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye!